Parker in 2035. Here's why nobody watching NASCAR is not a bad thing. There's zero fans. Viewership is in from last week's race. Nobody watched, but that's not a bad thing.
Welcome to the Money Lap. I kind of look up mid-taco bite. You don't know disappointment. Talking all things motorsports by two real drivers.
I appreciate being called a gritty driver.
With many, many years of experience.
We've had to do that other people didn't want to do.
The most dedicated host in the motorsports podcast world.
Weren't we supposed to have somebody come on our show as a guest?
No, we did it.
Did we?
Yes.
Yes, for our 1 year anniversary.
And we definitely know what we're doing. Remember, talk through your mic.
I'm talking past it like this.
Well, if you just pointed it differently. Like, never mind. Never mind.
Oh,
Never mind.
Let's
the
talk about
standards
race
mic.
cars. God's
This
sakes.
is our worst show ever. It's an all-new Money Lap. I'm Parker Kligerman, joined by my buddy who's driven in over 500 NASCAR races and sells maybe 500 cars a day. I'm not quite sure the numbers. That's Landon Cassill. This is Money Lap, our show about all motorsports. On today's show, we're going to dive into the NASCAR Cup Series from this past weekend at Bristol, a little bit of Xfinity and trucks. We've got some F1 news and some IndyCar news, including their new schedule and how they're going to be joining forces with a big American motorsports series a couple times, actually, not just for the Cup Series, but another series. So we'll dive into all that and more. But Landon, we start by asking, it's been a while since we last chatted. I think we
About a
did this.
week.
Yeah, it's been a week. Did we do this last week on Monday or Tuesday?
Monday.
Why does it feel like a while?
Because we do it when we go over a week. I think it just
Gets out of
there's
sync.
so many. Well, there's so much that happens. Plus, you have the race weekend, so it's not like the weekend's a dead time for what we talk about. Obviously, so you have everything that happens during the week and the weekend that we then don't talk about till more than a week after. That's math for you.
Whatever you just said. Yeah, that's totally 100%, man. Good.
Have you ever listened to the Money Lap? Never mind.
Yeah, bro.
Right. Let's go. What you been up to?
Really just whatever I've done in the last week, I suppose.
Jesus.
I think in the internet they call this a hook, where we have just hooked the listeners and viewers into just the most enticing set of topics.
This is I love the guy who interviews people for a living, works for multiple TV networks, is a professional at driving engagement, does a weekly podcast
Show.
with a weekly show with his best friend, and your question to drive conversation was, "What you been up to?" Not much, man. You?
That does suck. We did it. That does suck. I wouldn't have said that on TV.
You like
What was a way to
Parker? This is your opportunity. You get one chance. You get one question with Max Verstappen. This is it.
Hey,
Don't blow it. Here we go. Here he comes. Here he is. Microphone live, ready. You're on the air. Roll it. Well, Max, it's Parker Kligerman here. What have you been up to?
What's your favorite color? Hey, Landon, how much does a polar bear wear? A polar bear weigh?
I don't know. 500 pounds.
Enough to break the ice. Oh,
And we're in.
we're back. Well, you've given us great insight to what you've been up to for more than a week, so we appreciate that. I raced at Bristol, finished 14th. Just the first car lap down, I believe. Raced the leader of the second half there. Was ripping the top. It just all happened too late. I needed a cup race this past weekend for trucks because we got the thing working finally, the third stage.
Said every single driver who tries to run the top in a truck race at Bristol.
Yeah. Well, no, actually earlier, at the end of stage one, it worked, how I held off the leaders, although I jumped the cushion and got in the wall in the last lap. But it just, to your point, not quick enough.
It's the
Now,
fool's
if it happens
gold.
quicker, though, everyone else is up there, and I could just only make time up there. So,
Yeah, that's the fool's gold of the truck race at Bristol in this modern Bristol era. Races are too short, stages are too short, field is not deep enough, right? Not enough cars on track, and it's like they just get the top going until the race is over and then got in the bottom one.
Yep. Oh, of course, every time. That's how it goes. Well, we had to come from like 25th or something, but I think I finished 14th at both Bristols this year. So not our best year at Bristol. This time we were a lot faster than the spring. The spring, I guess we were a little better, but only the bottom worked, and it was just the last restart. I went from like 18th to 14th in 2 laps, just stock car racing them. So still fun to be out there. Great time with my 75 team. We've got 2 more races to end the season. We're going to the Roval with Borchetta Bourbon on board and Talladega with Pickers Vodka. So looking forward to that. We've got the alcohol promotion in full effect, which is good.
Great place to do it.
You need it. You need it, especially after finishing 14th in a truck race. Should we talk the Cup Series? Should we dive into some things? And I want to preface for those listening, this is a hook. We are going to dive into something I haven't heard discussed at all lately in regards to NASCAR Cup Series with some math. Better math than I did earlier. But we did have that race at Bristol. It was kind of crazy with the tire degradation that we saw on the right side being super quick. Obviously, if you're listening to this or watching this, you've heard a ton about how that happened. You don't need to dive too much in that. It was cooler temperatures. Goodyear was trying to make this happen. All those reasons. I just thought, or I was thinking from your perspective, I know we were texting a bit during the race. What'd you think of that when you were seeing it?
Just the overall tire dag and everything.
Yeah, I think just the way
it's
it
kind
played
of
out.
Potential new Bristol that we're seeing.
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, it's a little, I don't know, it's a little different. Like it's a pretty extreme version of tire fall off, but I love it. There's strategy. There's a ton of strategy. There's a lot of unknowns. If it's corny, then I suppose, then so be it, right? Might be cringy for some people because tires blow, then it causes cautions. I didn't like all the cautions, right? I like the tire dag, I just didn't like all the cautions. I don't like the cars catching on fire, but I don't know if you can avoid that with this car without having rubber, that much rubber peeling off the tires. So I don't know about that, but I don't know. I enjoyed it. I thought it was cool. It's fun to watch. I didn't know who was going to win.
Yeah.
And what's funny is, and this is what we texted a little bit about, I'm not at all trying to say that this is old Bristol, because it's not old Bristol. But who would have thought that having such extreme tire degradation would bring back the bottom as the primary groove at Bristol, right? You can't run the top now.
No, you couldn't. Not at
Because
all.
A, it'll wear the tires out. Well, no, A, there's so much rubber up there that you can't go up there, right? Like the track is dirty.
Yep.
But then B, even if you could go up there, it would just burn your tires up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you just run the bottom, protect the bottom, and manage your tires. And I kind of like that. I don't know. It's like everybody wanted to bring back Bristol, and
It just sort of happened.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I thought, to your point, it looked old-fashioned, them all ripping the bottom the way they did. I want to give a shout-out to Goodyear, who basically said, we're just going to make this happen. You guys want tire wear? Here you go. You get all the tire wear. It was an extreme amount for sure. I think there is one funny thing, if they keep this going forward, is as a team, if you now know that that's the situation to prepare for, and like we said, that spring 24 when this happened, if teams were able to know that that was going to be the case with extreme tire wear, how can they set up their cars differently to increase the longevity of the tire, right? Which I think, once again, this caught everyone off guard because they just didn't expect it or see it. Do they get 10%, 20% more laps out of the tire, 30% more laps. So, does that make the runs longer? And in that same vein, if this becomes sort of the tire they stick with, there was a lot of discussion of over 75-degree track temps. They won't see this kind of wear. Under 75-degree track temps, they will see this kind of wear. Are you, the decisions that teams will have to make in terms of setup, looking at the weather and saying, like, are we going to see this extreme tire wear or not? Because if you set up a car for this extreme tire wear and this doesn't happen, and it's just you can run 100 laps or 150 laps per set, you're not going to run well. So I don't know. I think it's an interesting thing if this continues. I think it's odd in that it's obviously different than what we know in the past, which is like the past, stock car early 2000s, you treated a tire one way at the beginning and it rewarded you or didn't reward you late in a run. It didn't just cord and blow up, right? Or disintegrate like this one does. So it's different than that, but I don't know if this became the trend and it became the thing. As always, I think teams and drivers would figure it out, and maybe you could make this set of tires last 150 laps, even with the temperatures being low and it possibly wearing like this if you don't.
So after the first time this happened at Bristol, you and I had a conversation on this show about how we predicted that they would figure it out. Yep. Right? Like that the first time it happened was a bit fluky and they'll figure it out because that's what'll happen. They'll just come back and they'll develop the setup. So, they need to come back with an even softer yet tire, which I think Goodyear did. Where I know we're kind of like 2 Bristols removed from that first time. Yep. But it is funny that this weather dependency, it's like there's a line there's a threshold and they're on kind of a razor's edge where, I was seeing the tweets after practice. Oh, no tire issues at all. Guys running 30-lap runs. Right? And then boom, the race started and it was nothing like what they practiced. I love it. So I'm fine with that. That's that's really cool and fun. And I had 2 things that I wanted to kind of bring up. Number one, you mentioned setting the car up for these conditions. What is, from your perspective, what does that look like? And maybe we should have got a crew chief on to talk about it. It's like, what does that look like with the next gen?
I don't know. I'm assuming softer, right? I'm assuming there's things that they know to do for tire wear that I'm not going to go into because I'm not setting these up. But I get where you're going with. What does that look like? I don't know exactly, but I know there's things they can do. Does it make a big enough difference? That I don't know. I listened to Denny's podcast. Shout out to our one listener, Denny. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you. Mm-hmm. And he was unable inside the car to really make a difference this past weekend in terms of how his tires wore.
He just said, no matter how he drove it, they were.
Yeah. But no matter how he drove it, you got around 50 laps and the right front was cording. No matter what.
This leads me to my other point, which was the one where I want to tease the crew chiefs. Is like, why did these guys keep hitting? Why did they keep putting tires on?
You had to.
Yeah, but there's a caution every 30 laps. Like why? What some of the who is the one that put their last set of tires on with 100 laps to go? Logano. Why would you not put your scuffs on with 100 laps to go? And then save those stickers for think Xfinity saving your last set of tires.
Yep.
Some of those guys that were just burning through tires, and I understand they're peeling the rubber off them, right? But it's like at some point, you're looking at everybody else in the field, and you're like, if we can just skip a pit stop somehow, right? Whether we get lucky and one of these 10-lap run, like we stay out after a 10-lap run, and then there's another caution, so we just skipped it. We leapfrog the field in terms of a set of tires. Like you got to take that gamble at some point, right? Because if you do that and you get in a position, especially over the course of a 500-lap race, you do that once or twice in a race successfully, you win the race, right?
Yeah. What was the 77 on?
And what's the risk? What's the risk? Because there's these guys are making green flag pit stops after 50 laps. So what I mean, you're gonna get you're gonna get an opportunity back, right? These guys are. Who was it that was like Bowman or these guys that pitted with like 30 laps to go and they still finished in the top 10?
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking the 20 was on newer tires than the 77 at the end. Blew by them. Well, Josh, do you remember what the 77 was on when he restarted?
I
up in the lead?
don't, but I think he stayed out on that last restart, and that's what caused
Yeah.
him to be caught out. Is he just was on older tires, or it was like a two set, or like a set of two tires or whatnot.
Got it. Interesting. What's also interesting is the left sides didn't really wear like the right sides,
Right.
which is another thing. So,
Do you think that's
Well, the right
why...
sides are the ones that they softened up.
yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, makes sense.
Do you think that's why during practice we didn't see that? Is the left sides got activated, so they were providing more grip and less of that was going into the right side tire because it was warmer, and then you go to the nighttime and it's just there's not enough heat to activate that left side, so there's just everything's going on that right side?
Maybe. I think the PJ1 being reapplied probably helped. You also had all the rubber on the track from Xfinity practice and qualifying before the Cup practice qualifying. So I think there was and the Xfinity cars lay down a ton of rubber there when it's a hot day like that. So I think that probably helped them a ton. And then when the track's cleaned off, basically overnight, they reapply the PJ1. It gets colder. There was just no rubber on the track, and that tire obviously was not lane rubber. It was just falling apart. So I think all those things add into it. It's going to be interesting where they go from here. You know, the other funny part of all this is when I think of Martinsville, if you want rubber to lay down on the track and have like where tire fall off is a thing, you want it to be a hot day. But does that change now? I don't know.
I don't know either.
We are the show for answers. I want you to know that.
I was more fascinated in the strategy of it all as the race was going on than like the tire fall off and the prediction of. I mean, I think the prediction of the weather and the outcome and stuff is fun and interesting, and I think that makes it the unpredictability makes it more interesting because then, like when you have something different on Sunday than what you had on Friday or Saturday, that's good for the fans, right? That's good for racing. That's good for just the chaos of the weekend. So that's a good thing. So we need to keep that. But really, at the end of the day, like it seems like we're on a razor's edge where the tires either fall off or they don't. It's not it's not a linear scale, right? So now for me, it's like, well, if we're in a situation where the tires fall off, we get in the race. The strategy of it is just there's so much out there. It's so fascinating. It's so many roll of the dice. And do you pit? Do you not pit? When are you putting tires on? Right sides, 4 tires. And I would love to just replay that race all over again and pay even closer attention. I know Jason Fellenbaum, a friend of mine, who's been a Twitter follower for a long time, he was keeping track of who has tires and what they have left. And he's got a good mind for a race fan of like strategy because he has good commentary. And so he would always, I love his critique of crew chiefs and what he thinks they should do. So he was a good follow for me he was my number one resource during the race of like who had tires and who didn't and what was the calls people were making.
I think you saw, to your point, you saw some teams trying to extend it, but then they would be so slow. They were almost getting wrecked, knocked out of the way. So, I mean, to your point, I think it was tackled so many different ways. It opens up a whole new set of strategy options because of the amount of laps you go down also there and just how long you're on pit road compared to the lap and that sort of thing. So it's a whole different type of racing. Whoever thought that green flag pit strategy would be the main topic of a Bristol race, but used to be, if you think the years prior, it was run till the caution and then you pit and you don't come back around unless there's a major issue and you have to pit again. And we've seen green flag stops potentially in third stages or in long green flag run races at Bristol, but they were so few and far between compared to the normal thing of you run 150 laps, there's a caution somewhere in there, right?
Mhm.
So I think it's interesting, but it's we'll see. We'll just have to see where it goes, and I don't know. We'll see what they come up with.
Parker, you have in the past said you hate the idea of tire sets and tire limits. They released a set in the middle of the race. Where did that affect like your opinion of everything? Just because I know you don't love the idea of tire sets being the limiting factor in a race.
It's the NASCAR Cup Series, $1.1 billion TV contract. Why is there tire set limits?
I don't know. Because it's better.
I think it sucks. It's top of the game. I don't want to talk about. I'd throw as many tires as you want at it. Xfinity makes total sense. Trucks, total sense. Cup makes no sense to me.
I disagree.
No. You're an idiot. I think it's fun. Yes, it's fun. Like when it becomes a discussion and hey, they're running down their last set or they're out of sets of tires. But then when I hear that they're out of tires and I'm like, what? This is the NASCAR Cup Series. Top of the game. No, never in the history of American motorsports has there been a series with more money, a larger TV contract than the NASCAR Cup Series in 2025. And yet teams run out of tires.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a hard one to explain.
I don't think it should have anything to do with money or affordability or saving money, even though that might be why they do it. But I think that an unintended consequence of that is that I think it creates parameters for the race, and I like that. It's a strategy tool. I absolutely think so.
Manufactured.
I don't think it's manufactured. I think it's okay to just say, hey, it's a 500-mile race and you get 10 sets of tires to complete it.
I think it's lame. Lame. I'm to stand by this. Absolutely, it's lame. And I don't have a lot of information to back up my claim other than I just think.
Other than your dumb opinion?
Other than this stupid opinion of mine and that your opinion's stupider. That it's dumb and I don't want to talk about it and it shouldn't be said in the NASCAR Cup Series. That's all I'll say about it. I want to hear about them slinging. If you got to sling 22 sets at it on a day, be my guest. You want to pay $100,000 in tires? Be my guest. You try and go win that race. That's what it takes. Good luck. You don't want to buy 100 sets? Don't. That's all part of the game. So, if Landon, do you think for the diecast for Christopher Bell, they'll make it with the tires?
If you're a racing fan like us, you've got to check out SpoilerDiecast.com. These guys are crushing it right now. Spoiler Diecast is one of the fastest growing diecast and racing merch companies out there. And you know what? It's for good reason, Parker, because they ship same next day, all of the above. So your order is not sitting in limbo forever. They have a massive selection. They have over 1,900 products in stock, and that is growing. They need to let us know when they cross the 2,000 threshold. Mostly NASCAR. They got a little bit of everything. Dirt, sprint cars, IndyCar, F1. Right now, they got free shipping pretty much through all of summer and into the fall now on orders over $100. And you also get a free NASCAR t-shirt of any random driver. So just comment your preferred size in the order notes there using promo code MONEYLAP. So whether you're trying to find something rare, like a Jeff Gordon golf bag, are you serious?
Right?
Or is it a William Byron golf bag?
No, it's Jeff Gordon.
Or you're just looking to rep your favorite driver. Go to SpoilerDiecast.com. Use promo code MONEYLAB. Take advantage of the free shipping and the free diecast while it lasts. And great transition.
That was incredible. Well done. We're going to win an Emmy for that one, a Webby. But the other thing is, I've seen some people getting my Spike Light Coors truck from Daytona earlier this year. Those are starting to arrive. I think the autograph ones are a little bit later. So if you ordered those, they're starting to show up. I was just showing it. If you're watching on YouTube, I have the prototype that came a couple weeks ago or months ago, actually. But So I was showing that off. So that's out there. And then we're still selling the t-shirts from my Xfinity Daytona win. So check those out. Use code MONEYLAP. We appreciate Spoiler Diecast. They're awesome. And big shout out to them. You've mentioned it there, how much they're growing. We've seen tons of comments and people that reach out saying they've had a great, enjoyable buying experience of Spoiler Diecast, and that they found them because of the show. So
their sales are going up. I mean,
we're the biggest part of that. So
we're
basically everything.
We've done most of the heavy lifting for them, really.
Let's talk about the elimination of the playoffs. We made some predictions ahead of time. The drivers that were eliminated from the round of 16 as we enter the round of 12 this next coming weekend at New Hampshire was Josh Berry, Shane Van Gisbergen. That was easy for me to say.
Shane Van Gisbergen.
SVG. Austin Dillon and Alex Bowman. I can't say anybody's name right now. You had Bubba, Cindric, Berry, and Dillon out, so you get 2 of your 4 that you kicked out. I had Cindric, Ross, Chastain, Josh Berry, and Austin Dillon out, so I get 2.
Which Ross were you talking about again?
Yeah.
Ross Chastain.
Okay,
yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry, I can't say names. Josh had Cindric, Berry, Dillon, and Bowman out. Wow, Josh, you got 3.
Round one. Let's go.
That sounds like a law firm in Florida for personal injury.
Oh no.
Cindric, Berry, Dillon, and Bowman.
That does. Law offices in Tampa. Come check us out.
We fight for you.
I just I gotta ask.
We fight. Nobody fights for you like Cindric, Berry, Bowman, and Dillon.
Did Barry have the worst championship playoff run in history?
Had to be. Outlap 1, turn 2 at Darlington. Gateway. What happened there? He got wrecked.
Something like that.
Something like that. And then lights on fire in this race. Just a terrible run. Absolutely horrific. So I don't know if it could have gone worse. It's the best way to put it. I don't know if there's any surprises in who was knocked out, to be honest, other than I think I had hope for SVG and he did not come through with that, which was unfortunate.
We fooled Landon that too. He got
did.
on the SVG train as well.
I am so mad about
3.
that.
He would have had 3. None of us had hope for Austin Cindric, by the way. And he proved us all wrong.
Yeah.
Proved the haters wrong. Well, I guess the only other thing is, who do we feel is getting knocked out in this next one? Who do we have? Oh, this is too hard to do the math from this thing.
What?
We're not going to do that.
What do you mean?
We have Denny. If you just want to run through the top 8.
Yeah, do your top 8. Who's going to make it?
I'm just let's just speak in facts for a second. So Denny is the points leader, right?
Yes. So if you guys scroll down a little bit in the sheet, I have the current point standings. It's Denny, William Byron, Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, Ryan Blaney, Briscoe.
And so all the way down to Blaney is about a 20 to 25, 26 point cushion. Then you go to Briscoe in 6th with a 10-point cushion. Chase is in 7th with a 5-point cushion. Bubba is on the cut line right now. Chase Elliott.
I know.
Bubba has a 1-point cushion in 8th. And then you have Cindric, Logano, Ross, Chastain, and Tyler Reddick. Really just between 1 and 3 points out. So we're kind of throw a blanket over 7th through 12th because it's an 8-point swing from 7th to 12th. Interesting.
It does put into just brings into view how the reset just destroys people. Like Bubba Wallace, I feel like had a great first round. And it's like, hey, here's your reward. You're back to the cut line. Good job.
Well, he had a great first round, but he didn't win.
No.
Did he even win? What stages did he win? Like one playoff stage win? He won
Yeah.
one playoffs. So he won one stage in 0 races. So it's like, yeah, you could say he had a great first round because he advanced and he ran well and scored points. But at this point, I mean, you're trying to build that cushion. Well, and I don't know if there's no. It is a good conversation to have. It sounds like we're bouncing all over the place, but I'm kind of developing a thought here for a second. I don't.
It's nothing new and different.
Is it too late in the season to be thinking about building a cushion anyways for the next round? Like,
no, I think you have to be.
Yeah, but you had 26 races to win stages and races to build playoff points, right? That's
Yeah.
why Denny Hamlin has 26 points right now, right? That's why Byron has 24 points and Kyle Larson has 24 points. At this point, if you're Bubba Wallace, it's like, I'm trying to survive. I'm just trying to make it to the next round. And of course I want bonus points. But you would have to win every stage and every race to get enough bonus points to even feel good.
Well, if he won a
Right.
race and a stage, that'd be 6. That'd bump him up a little bit for the next round. Solid amount. But I guess, yeah, the next round, that doesn't even matter because you basically just probably have to win if you're him. You make it to round of 8.
Right.
I've got him going all the way.
You're competing against the guys that have 26 points.
Yeah, I've got him going all the way to the championship 4. The math doesn't look great. He's going to have to win. But I got belief. He can win Kansas. You just watch. He's done it before.
The Roval.
I don't think he's going to win the Roval.
Could though. Technically,
yeah.
he could.
You could
will
use
be in the race.
Anything could happen. NASCAR trope. Love that one. Well, we'll see. It's going to be fun. These cutoffs, it gets incrementally tougher. And I think a lot of these teams, especially your top teams, Hendrick, JGR, Penske, if you don't make the round of 8, they consider the year a failure. If you make the round of 8, that's the bare minimum.
It's funny how we talked about, I think after the first playoff race, one of our headlines, if not the title of our show, was, is Hendrick in trouble? Right?
Yep.
But yet, you look at the standings right now, and Byron is second with 24 points, and Larson is third, tied 24 points, above the cut line. And then that's, and Elliott is 5 points above the cut line. So they got 3 out of 4 so far.
They get a good shot. I think they get a good shot for sure. Josh, do you want us to say who gets eliminated this round?
I think the listeners want to hear who you think gets eliminated.
Yeah, but you were supposed to write it from our thing because I can't.
That doesn't matter. That was your playoff prediction before we started.
Oh,
we
saying
get to
now.
audit our scorecard there.
God, who gets knocked out now?
Exactly.
I'm gonna say, what do we got? New Hampshire, Kansas, Roval.
Yep.
So I'm gonna say, getting knocked out will be Cindric, Logano, Chase Elliott, Ross Chastain.
All right, interesting.
What do you got, Landon?
I think Reddick, Ross, Bubba.
Which Ross?
Chastain.
You guys suck.
I said Bubba and Cindric.
Interesting.
I don't know. Cindric might be a tough one at Roval. I don't know
how. I'm gonna go Reddick. Bubba.
Haters.
If we were just trimming the bottom 4 and keeping the points, I think Bubba would be in. Not just because of points, but because of like where his, where your mindset is at, where with that last round. I'm sure he had confidence going into Bristol, but now he's 1 point above the cut line. That kind of feels like that moves it to a feast or famine mode. And then Reddick just hasn't. I don't know. I just feel like he hasn't had the pace the last couple of.
All right, who's your
months.
4th?
And I'm gonna go with. I said Chase Elliott, and then I'm gonna go with Is it this? Is it? I'm gonna say it because I'm kind of feeling it. Kyle Larson gets eliminated
Whoa.
here.
Okay.
Interesting. What has he done the last 3 races? He done
Yeah.
much?
Yeah.
He's existed.
You think Larson's getting eliminated?
It's not unprecedented. This is usually the round where one of the Champ 4 favorites gets eliminated. I feel like you kind of got to go out there and say it. Like, this is a round
Somebody's
where
going to surprise us.
Yep.
Well, we will see. That's why they run the races, guys.
That's why you got to run them.
Got to run the races. Figure it out. It's how you get a winner and a loser. And there are going to be more losers than there are winners. That's for sure. That's all I'm saying. Let's talk viewership numbers. Once again, they are down from this Bristol race, as we've seen be a theme in this year's playoffs, and with some of the channels and such that the new TV package has brought into the sport. And I've seen a lot of discussion from fans and stuff on Twitter about the whole idea of like, well, this proves the playoffs don't matter and that sort of stuff. And maybe they're right. Maybe they're wrong. I don't know. Then I've seen the discussion of like, well, it's on USA and not network. And how can they do this? Why is it not on network? And I think there's a lot of fans that don't quite understand how TV packages are built. And when you see that $1.1 billion number, why NASCAR is able to achieve that number, and why the networks and where these races are is a big part of that number. And that is that obviously starting back in 2014 with that TV package, which was the dawn of NBC Sports Network and FS1, which is Fox Sports 1, NASCAR moved from primarily being on network and ESPN, a little bit of TNT, to being often on those new sports networks, right, which are cable networks. And at the time, that was like just the tipping point for cable to start losing subscribers to the streaming world. And, you know, the reason they were able to get such a big number in that TV package moving away from network was that those new cable networks needed content, right? And they get cable subscriber fees. So they're willing to pay higher because they're not as dependent on just selling for advertising. Whereas a network, being, say, Fox or NBC proper network channel, is dependent entirely on advertising. And so, you know, when you look at these viewership numbers, one, it does suck to see it down because it's just like, man, you want to see the sport be successful. But in a lot of respects, you know, the number isn't important right this second, because you have 6 more years of this TV contract. Will it matter in the future? Of course, as they're trying to renegotiate and that sort of thing. Yes, I think some of the value that you've seen from NASCAR when you see numbers, you know, on a Sunday against football, that's 2+ million or so. That's probably one of the only things on television that can go up against the NFL and still pull a decent number in the 7 figures, right? And that's been sort of the value proposition of NASCAR for TV networks for the last 15 years. And, you know, Saturday night races are always going to be harder for whatever reason. It's just tougher to get TV ratings than Sundays. But with that, I thought it was an interesting discussion to talk about, hey, what does this mean for the sport and the teams and that sort of thing, where you've gone to somewhere you might get lesser viewers, but you're getting more money. And to put that into view, we have done a little bit of math. So bear with us. Are you ready for this math, Landon?
I'm ready.
So we mentioned the TV contract's $1.1 billion per year for the NASCAR Cup Series, which I believe includes trucks and Xfinity. But let's just say if you removed Xfinity, roughly that's just about $1 billion, $970 million, somewhere around there. We know that the teams got $430 million per year, which is about 44.3% of that 970. They wanted 720, which would have been about 2/3 of the entire media rights package. You know, if you break this down by car, that's just under $12 million per car in this current design. The teams say it takes about $20 million to run a car. But, and I'm not going to say how or why I would know this sort of thing, but if in a world where the NASCAR said, you know what, we want to just be all on network. Fox, NBC, network proper only, right? You could expect probably to get about 40% of the size of this TV contract, which would be just under $400 million. If you do that math, that knocks the teams down to getting about $4.7 million, just under $5 million per car from the media rights.
And
So
what
if
kind
you're
of
in the
viewership numbers would we be seeing right now for
Well,
that
I think
exact same race? For that exact
yeah,
same
I think if
race
you
that
look
got-
at it, let's just say it's 1 million more, maybe $1.5 million more.
So we got 2.5 viewers at Bristol this weekend instead of the 1.5 that we got on USA.
Right. So let's just ask a theoretical question. Can they would every team make up $6 million in sponsorship essentially, or almost 7 in some cases? And remember that number we're using is sort of averaged over the whole series, whole garage. That doesn't mean every car just gets 12 million straight up. There's bonuses for winning versus not, and it sort of averages out to that number. Would they make up $6 million per year per car in sponsorship if you were just on network?
I would guess not.
I would say no, because I would think there's not many teams who are over or inundated with $6 million sponsors at this time. I've also never had a team call me and be like, hey, race is on network. We got a sponsor. Time to go racing. Does it matter? Yes. Does it build
it's a
into all
closing
of it?
tool?
I think so, a little bit. You're going to have more eyeballs and that sort of thing. But I think that is why you end up in the situation that you are, where you're on cable channels versus being on network, right? And the streaming stuff is a whole nother set to that, of course. And you do that to be a part of these modern media companies that are growing, like an Amazon, right? But the discussion of ratings on network versus being on cable and the amount of money difference, you got to make it up somewhere. I don't see it being made up in advertising and sponsorship, right? And so that's why you end up with the sport primarily on those channels as opposed to being on the networks.
I think a bigger question here is, because I'm gonna love to just go to the bigger question. It is such a dramatic difference between network and non-network on actual dollars, like today's dollars, the amount of money we're gonna receive tomorrow when we sign this contract. So that's the short term is a big important thing to consider. The bigger question is like, what is that? Is the sport risking like growth by just winding down the audiences for the sake of money? Like, you know what I mean?
100%.
Is it like taking the bigger check but a smaller audience? And then is the next one going to be taking another bigger check but continuing to wind down the audience? Is that a risk? Is that happening?
I think it's definitely been a risk. I think you can,
because this is the same conversation that happened last time they did a TV deal.
Yeah, it's the same thing when they decided to do the new sports networks. They had more races on network than you'd have in this TV contract. It was the same decision to be made. Do you take the money now, the bird in hand versus 2 hands in the bush sort of thing? Or, do you hope that the growth continues in being on a place of more distribution and can get more eyeballs, right? I think that is sort of your decision. And, they've made that decision twice now for the current money. And I think there's a lot of factors that go into it, but it kind of, I think at least explains to people how you end up down this path, right? And I think from the network side, they're just doing good business. Like, in the day, they need content on cable networks as much as they need on network. And for them, they're willing to pay more if you're going to be on cable, and they're not going to pay as much if you're on network.
Right.
It's just
well, obviously the
math.
networks are, they're doing their job, right? And they want to grow their audience.
Right.
Is it naive?
That's why they
of
buy.
me?
Well, and hold on, Josh, real quick. That's
Yeah.
why they buy the content like this. That's why a USA is willing to pay to have NASCAR Cup Series on there because it's bringing more eyeballs to USA, and there might be long tail effect to that for them and that sort of thing, right? So I just think it's sort of how you end up in these positions and these decisions, and that's how you end up with what you have now. What were you gonna say, Josh?
Is it naive of me to say that this was a cash out by NASCAR because this is likely going to be the last TV contract if it's 7 years? Everyone is moving towards streaming platforms, and the idea of network television and cable television, we've been walking slowly and surely towards this thing of 7 years from now or 6 years from now. Is it going to be as prevalent, as big of a jump? We're looking at YouTube broadcasting an NFL game and getting 20 million viewers through various YouTube live viewership numbers. Now, obviously, that's the first one. Going to have some artificial inflation to that number just because that interest. But is this them cashing out while they can still get, quote, TV money before making a potential move like F1 may be rumored to be doing with them going to Apple TV Plus and stuff?
Yep. I don't think that's exactly the correct way to frame it, because that's why you have Amazon as a part of this TV package, right? That's why you have Max as a part of the TV package. You know, that's setting up for the next probably frontier of which a lot of sports will be on just streaming, right? You saw it with the MLS going to Apple. To your point, you've had NFL do Amazon. They've also now done YouTube. I think the fragmentation of media is going to continue. And as a sports rights holder, you've got to be nimble enough to sort of try and spread your content across those different places to see what is going to work and what doesn't, right? I think F1 could be, as you said, rumored to be an Apple thing. Could it also have a piece on ESPN or big races on ESPN or ABC? Possibly, right? That would be a good mix for them. And I think you see that with NASCAR's contract, which is a mix of network, cable, streaming, all combined together. And the reason it's not 10 years and it's 7 years, because remember the last contract before this was 10 years, is sort of a hedge to say, hey, what will even be the place that people watch this stuff in 7 years? No one knows it's moving so fast, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's part of why you make that decision to even have lesser years, so you're not just locked into something that in 7 years could no longer be, or could potentially be sort of obsolete. If you look at cable, right, its peak was 2011, and now I think it's sub 50 million cable subscribers. When its peak, it was, I think, just under 100 million or even 100 million, right? And therefore, you know, it's just continuing to fragment, and you've got to sort of try and time it out to be in the right places, to be the right partners that get eyeballs, can push, you know, distribution and put out marketing to let people know that's where it's at. So, you know, Josh, it's a really good point. I think the only other thing to this that's got a lot of people curious as to what we're seeing is the Xfinity series, which is on CW, which is just a network. That is obviously, the Xfinity series has had a massive boon in ratings and continues to, not quite every week now, but most weeks, be over 1 million viewers for the Xfinity series, which is a big deal. And that's on one single network. That's, you know, free to air television every single weekend for them. So it is a really difficult thing to say, you know, to plot for the future, but it's definitely, you know, makes you think about all those decisions and to say what is right. I don't know. I don't think anyone knows. And that's why you have a design with multiple different partners in different places.
I think the IndyCar deal shows that even if you do move it to a network, it's not necessarily going to just grow your numbers as well. We saw them pulling in 500,000 on Fox, which is,
well, over the whole
scary.
course of the season, they had one of their biggest seasons in a while, right?
Yeah.
The average of this with the massive Indy 500 number they got. So I don't know. Does in 2 or 3 years, does that look a lot larger for them? Possibly. That could give credence to the fact of like, oh, you got to be on network. You got to take less money and just be on network because media rights are no longer just a sole thing. Or do you say we don't care about having an extra 1 million viewers and we'd rather just have more money up front? Landon's the business guy. You figure it out.
I don't know. I mean, that 40% difference is huge. I don't run NASCAR's business. I don't know if we can sit here It's a hard one to just say what we would have done or what you should do. I think it's hard to turn away that money for sure.
I think so as well. I think you got to.
It's
You
just
just have
I
to
think
take
it's a hard decision. I think that people, I think that's a one that you just got to pause and respect the gravity of the decision for NASCAR because it's a sport that runs on eyeballs. But $100 million is $100 million,
Is it?
right?
Is a billion?
Well, I mean, it's $400 million or whatever the difference is, right? 400 million. No, 100 million difference. What's the difference?
No,
Between
the
the two?
difference between the two, if you did
600
40% of the current one, would have been
$600 million.
$600 million.
$600 million is a lot of money. That's enough money that I think a boardroom full of smart people can go, well, we can find the eyeball. We can make up for that. We can with that 600 million, we can invest in this marketing and that marketing and these campaigns and that campaigns, and we'll make up for that. Those eyeballs.
We'll be just
figure
fine.
it out. We'll be just fine. We'll figure it out.
Well, it is just
and then
fascinating.
9 years later, your viewership is 20% of what it was a decade ago.
I don't know. But it was fun.
How many millions of people watched the Bristol night race in 2007?
Oh gosh. We'd have to go to it's gonna be on J-Ski. They still plotted all that, Josh, if you can get the answer.
Probably.
7 million, you said?
I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm guessing.
2007, it would have to have been 5 to 7, somewhere in there. Maybe
I'm looking it up.
God, it could have been 8 or 10. I mean, those early, from 01 to 2007 was just ginormous. Some of the 05 numbers were just massive. That was the biggest year ever for NASCAR was 2005.
Wait,
So,
was the Bristol is that the night race is the second one?
yeah.
And it has always been.
Yes.
It was 3.5 2007. On ESPN though, it wasn't network.
Oh, that's right. Go to 06 or 05.
06 was on TNT.
Go to
3.6 and 05 was 3.9 on TNT as well. You're gonna have to go a little bit further back. If you
That's
want Bristol
TNT Summer
race,
Series was always a thing. Yeah.
On Fox in March it was 5.1 and 12 million. 5.1 rating, 12 million.
12 million. There you go. That's a lot of people. Wow. Speaking of the Xfinity Series, Eric Almirola, God, I cannot talk today. One, puts the 19 car in the owners' playoffs in the next round, which is kind of a mess in the Xfinity Series, and I don't think it's worth going into, but it's obviously just one of the rare things with the Xfinity Series with having sort of these all-star cars. It is one of those situations where you're going to have possibly a different owners champion or owners championship 4 than drivers championship 4, which is wild. But I just wanted to say, can we pour one out for Sheldon Creed? His 15th second place finish.
Just racking them up, man.
Brutal. Imagine
is that nearing a record? Because didn't Daniel Hemrick
he's got No, he's got the record.
Jeez.
Just so crazy. So crazy. I was wondering, I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, okay, just take 10, or I guess 10% doesn't work, but it almost works. 10% of those were wins. He'd have 1.5, but call it 2 wins. And how different it would all be. It's just so crazy. So crazy to finish second 15 times. So close. Almost got to the back bumper of Eric Almirola, but he just didn't get through traffic fast enough, by his teammate fast enough, that sort of thing. I don't know. I just felt for the guy. And when Kim was interviewing after the race, he sort of smirked and chuckled, and it made me laugh. That's just like, at that point you have to laugh. I mean, to be that close that many times.
Yeah. He's gonna be the Xfinity Series champion. Pulling a Daniel
Oh.
Hemrick arc.
Do you think
He's going to
he'll
win it.
his first
He's
race
going to in Phoenix.
and a championship? I could see it. He's really good at Phoenix. He's really good at Phoenix.
So are those cars.
Yeah. Cole Custer 2 years ago was fast, and Riley Herbst was super fast last year. So
Oh
it
my
absolutely could be the case.
I don't want that to happen for him. He needs to just get his first win at the Roval or Kansas or this weekend. I don't know. Did they race this weekend?
No, they're off this
No,
weekend.
they're off. Yeah.
New Hampshire. Just trucks and Cup. I hope he does too.
I mean, I would be happy for him to win a championship. I'm just, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
He needs to be able to get a proper first win.
Mm-hmm.
And it not overshadow like his championship or the meme of it all. He just needs to get his first win.
And I'd like for his first win, for his sake, to be all about him finally winning. Because I think that'll be a pretty popular win for how close he's been and how many times. And I could see Kansas being the place, 100%. Got a little momentum. I know it's a weekend off. Nice chance to rest and then go get it done. So we'll see. Let's move in the open wheel world. Formula One, big news out of F1. We've talked about this a couple times this year about them taking away Monaco from the greatest day in motorsports and moving that to be Montreal. A lot of people were scared about them going head to head with the Indy 500. F1, in a rare move to not conflict with the largest two motorsports in America, they moved the start time to 4 p.m. Eastern, which therefore puts it smack in the middle between the Indy 500 and the Coca-Cola 600. The greatest day in motorsports is back. That is great news. Thank you, F1, for doing that. I think this also, Landon, could potentially be one of the highest rated F1 races ever, if you think about it, because we're all tuned to that being Motorsports Day. Now it's not in the morning anymore with Monaco. Montreal is historically a way better race. It's a very interesting race for F1. I always think it puts on a great show. And it's essentially smack in the middle of those two races where you have a lot of promotion about the greatest day in motorsports, so on and so forth.
Yeah. You could actually hit all three.
Oh, yeah.
It's just Monaco in the morning. Special. I'm going to miss that.
I know. It is a little special, but this will be interesting. I'm just glad, personally, that somehow someone looked at all that and thought, this is not a good idea.
Wait, did they previously announce a start time of noon?
I think they did, and somebody was
That's
smart
smart
enough, to say, wait a second, what are we doing? Not cool. So I'm glad they did that. The American F1 team, Cadillac.
F1 with a rare moment of self-awareness.
Yeah. They didn't just go, we're the coolest kids here, shut up. They did something nice for everyone, which is great. And now you can watch them all, and I like that. That'll be a good day. Cadillac reached a multi-year agreement with Jim Beam, combining two great American companies and brands into one nice multi-year partnership. I presume that is not, it may be one of the first, but it will not be the last of these types of partnerships for that team.
What do you think Jim Beam is spending on that?
Well, it said they're the official spirits, right, of it. It's not, I don't believe it's sort of like a title sponsorship. So in F1, I want to say, what, $20 million a year?
Okay.
Give or take. Something like that, I would think. That's what they get because it's global. Got to remember that. So, speaking of schedules, we got a new schedule for the IndyCar series. The 2026 schedule was released. They're going to be doing a doubleheader with the NASCAR Cup Series at Phoenix. They'll also be racing St. Petersburg with the NASCAR Truck Series, which is super cool. So NASCAR and IndyCar, once again, trying this whole doubleheader thing. Obviously, the first time it was done was at the behest of NBC, who created those cool weekends at the Indy GP, which was fun. And I enjoyed those a lot. and now we get to do it again, but at an oval, which would be super interesting.
Is
So,
there a race the Saturday before the Indy 500?
no?
We should be sending the Xfinity series there that Saturday before.
That's sacred, Josh. You can't say that. That's Indy's weekend. You can't put NASCAR.
That's
there.
open wheel weekend.
Yeah. No.
Oh, we're just giving. Okay, fine. We'll do somewhere else. I don't know. I was thinking it would be fun. They get a doubleheader, we get a doubleheader
There would be a lot of angry people if you did that.
on a race or on a day where there's nothing happening.
I'd rather see silver crown cars.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Josh, that was just the stupidest thing we've ever heard.
It's
in all
fine.
time.
I'd rather see tour. I'd rather see tour modifieds on the big track.
You guys were both wrong about the tire limit debate. You guys' opinions were both wrong.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
That's fine.
All right. Well, anyway, it's a good looking schedule. It ends at Laguna Seca, and I just thought the doubleheader stuff was cool. So that's super cool to see the two motorsports working together. And they've got that new Arlington GP, and the Toronto race was moved to Markham, Canada. So
Where's
a couple
that?
new. I think it's outside Toronto.
Oh,
From what I gathered, Josh, did I do that right?
I have no idea. I've never heard of this place in my life. So
I think it's a suburb of Toronto. You're not a big Markham fan?
I can't say that I am. Maybe we should send the Xfinity cars there, or is that a sacred place as well?
no, I'm good with that place.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Where is this place? Let me see. Yeah, it's a suburb of Toronto. It's just outside. So
I'm envisioning us just driving down, just residential streets. That's
their houses, like
yeah.
like a housing community complex. It's like, what the hell was that? No, I don't think it's quite that. I think there's a little bit more downtown incorporated. Right. Well, let's do some picks for this upcoming weekend. We've got NASCAR Cup and trucks at New Hampshire, F1 in Azerbaijan, one of the coolest F1 races of the year, I always think. Landon is putting in his picks. I'll let you say them.
For Cup, I'm going with Christopher Bell.
Okay.
Trucks, Tima, Jeski. In Formula One, Azerbaijan, I think Max is gonna I think he's gonna run the Monza playbook again.
Wow.
That's what I'm rooting for.
I've got Chase Briscoe winning Cup. Trucks, Chandler Smith. Formula One, I'm going with. Oof. Max is a good pick. Oh, I got my pick. Lewis Hamilton. Because by God, he's just got to get another one. He's won a sprint race. It's got to happen. This race can get crazy. Low downforce, super low grip around that place. Lewis Hamilton. I think I've picked him like 17 times this year.
And it'll hit one day. You'll get there.
Yeah.
I know it.
Blind squirrel finds a nut every now and then.
Yeah.
So
I'm also gonna join Landon and get Christopher Bell for Cup. For truck, I'm gonna go with Corey Heim. I don't know, he's just time. And then Oscar Piastri. I don't think I've changed my F1 pick since like week 2 or week 3.
Okay. Oscar Piastri. Got it. We've got no new Apple reviews. If you like us, even if you don't like us, but you won't get on unless you give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcast. We're just under 240, maybe just over. And we'd appreciate it. Give us a little review. You get on the show. On Spotify, we had some interesting comments. Clifford D said, Landon's impression of Parker was spot on. Originally just listened, and I thought it was Parker replying to F1 team manager. Didn't realize it was Landon doing both voices. You've got a future in voice work, Landon.
Oh, I got a voice for radio. Face for radio.
McKay said, as much as I wish NASCAR had some variety, I don't know if I want BOP referencing our discussion on multiple engine designs being allowed in NASCAR in the coming
I
years.
want multiple engine designs, but no BOP.
You won't get that. You're going to have BOP and you're going to like it.
That's stupid.
Renee said, Landon, the company I work for, remote, is based out of Iowa. Can confirm people to bananas over some Iowa football. People go bananas over some Iowa football.
Yeah.
And Shane says, Parker, huge. LMAO, love the show, guys. Keep it up. Not sure what he was referencing.
Something is huge related to Parker.
Interesting. On YouTube, we had Charles Hall SC say, boys, the whole motor issue is mute. Dodge will have an engine being owned by Stellantis. Dodge is tied to Ferrari. The engine will be designed and built in Stellantis. Okay.
I think he's right.
Okay, maybe.
So that's 2 F1 engines in Toyota will be the only one without an F1 engine. Oh,
if a Ferrari engine comes into NASCAR, that would be one of the wildest things of all time. Don't quite see that happening unless maybe it was an old block from like the 360 Modena or something, but what do I know? Noah of Babylon says, yeah, this is definitely the best episode of the show. Appreciate that. I thought it kind of sucked personally. And Eric Elston 7670 says, wait, open a Money Lap 69 car at Daytona and Cup. Landon can start the race and then sub Parker in so Landon gets his first time win and Parker can complete a trifecta of Daytona wins. The hell of a strategy, Cotton.
There you go. There you have it.
I like it. I haven't been able to say any driver's names this entire show, but there's one name I know I can say, Landon. Do you know who?
Who is that?
Starts with a K. Ends in oosh. That's Kyle Busch here on the Money Lap. Finally, I said the correct name and everything, and he is here and ready. Nope. Is he not?
Kurt Busch is here.
Kurt,
you said bring in K Busch. So I scheduled us for Kurt.
Oh my god, that's awkward. We're gonna have to stop and re-record.
Okay.
Yeah, stop. Thank you so much for watching and listening to the Money Lap. If you like this show, please like and subscribe to us on YouTube. Share it with friends. We want to spread the word of great motorsports shows, of which we're somewhere up and around there. I'm not exactly sure where, but nonetheless, you can also reach out to us anytime on across social media or at our website, themoneylap.com, or at our email, friends@themoneylap.com. And of course, you can always leave us a review. 5 stars gets you on this very show. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Goodbye.